AVC, Plastic Eric here, Plastic Soundwave Cult, here for another amazing edition of Collection Connection, the game that's just an excuse to talk about music. It's a game that I play with my brother Bryce over in Good Show Ponsenby. Every Monday, I show an album. He finds a connection to an album in his collection, shows that album on Thursday, and then I find a connection to that. And again, on Monday, I show an album from my collection that relates to his album that he had. And you get to guess the connection. And from Bryce's last video, which did very well, thank you very much. Nonsuch Ned got the correct answer. The album Tejas with ZZ Top has a reference to the devil with El Diablo, and Teenage Fan Club on Bandwagon-esque also has a song that refers to the devil called Satan. And so the last album that Bryce showed was Bandwagon-esque. I don't know why I struggled with that name. From Teenage Fan Club, Scottish band. I found the songs to be all right. Kind of poppy. I think the song that I liked the best on it in the end was the last song. Is This Music? I think is what it's called. It kind of sounded like a little mix between power pop and The Cure. It kind of had a Cure kind of feeling to me. The other songs, I'm not sure if there was any hits that came off of that. But there were a couple other songs that sounded pretty good, but it to me it sounded like power pop with a little mix of grunge in it. It definitely is a product of its time. Which is funny because the album I'm kind of gonna connect it to is also pretty much a album of its time. And so the album that I connected with Teenage Fan Club Bandwagon-esque is Hole. Live Through This. Like I said, I think it is kind of a product of its time. Definitely an interesting band. Started by Courtney Love and Eric Erlandson, I believe the guy's name is, on lead guitar. And they went through several other band member changes before they got to this point here. But I think it's probably their most famous album. I know there's some other ones that came after it. Very interesting album in the sense of all of the weird references. It's funny how the songs feel, they're against the objectification of women. But then it seems like all of the tropes that occur with this band deal with the objectification of women. Courtney Love is known to basically perform in very short skirts with usually, I guess, underwear. The name of the band, and I know it refers in some sense to something else, but basically we know what they're talking about. Even the doll parts, all those references I found very interesting. And then the other interesting thing about this album is the fact that it came out a week after her husband's death, which famously she was married to Kurt Cobain. I try to look up to see what the deal with that is, because that's got to be totally mind-bending for a person to have the most success that they've had in their life and have some of the worst personal happenings going on in your life, or the death of her husband, and since then, even, not going into whether they're true or not, but, blaming her for the death of her husband. And so I could see where that makes her a little bit kooky, again, trying not to judge on her or anything like that. The hit songs on here were Violet, Miss World, Doll Parts. Interesting thing on here too with Rockstar, the last song on this one. famously has that kind of thing that was popular in the 90s, where you start an album and then stop and then restart again. I think Green Day is a famous one. I think the oldest one I could think of is the Beatles for the beginning of Revolution on the White Album. So with all that said, I think I could wrap it up here. Choice, Hole. I know that this is not a member of the band. I forgot. I think I saw something about this lady and how much money she didn't get paid for doing this album cover. Which seems to be kind of like a theme I noticed. Like the kid from Nirvana didn't feel like he got enough money. I'm not sure about the Blink 182 lady, with the putting on the glove for that album. The name escapes me right now. But yeah, hopefully between Teenage Fan Club and this album, you can figure out